Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Wolfgang Gogg. I'm Vice President Product here at the Derfa Corporation. And yeah, I'm very happy to share with you all the new stuff that we're gonna release very soon. So let me share my screen with you. And I hope you should be seeing the introduction slides to the demo just now. And yeah, so what I'm gonna show you in the next 20 minutes or so. Basically, we have prepared a semi-automatic accounts payable process for you, which we pretty much start off by just sending an email to a monitored email address. So that means we're sending an email, and this is going to be picked up by our content connector, and from the email inbox, it will be directly saved securely to the Derfa system. But it will not just be saved there, it will immediately trigger off a Derfa workflow to start our smart capture process. If you have been joining us in Diffusion last year in Vienna, you obviously have seen already a smart capture proof of concept demo in a very early stage. But now I'm very honored to show you the final product and how smart capture is fully integrated into our Derfa clients. The smart capture process basically is reading invoice information from the paper document using artificial intelligence. So there's no upfront training required, and you will get very, very good results from the beginning. But for sure, during the evaluation process, the system continuously learns and adapts to your specific invoices more and more over time. And smart capture is available for all of our clients. You can use it in the Derfa Navigator, but you can also use it in the Derfa Dynamic Web View, for example. When smart capture is finalized and finished, we're going to take back the document to the Derfa system, and it's going to be moved to a vendor's case. So we see a vendor's case where we not just have the invoice documents available, but you also see some additional documentation and some orders there, and the data that was read from smart capture. What you see next is actually that we automatically integrate into Business Central using our new Business Central connector, which means the document is then automatically registered in Business Central and prepared for the further processing there. So you will see all the line items, all the header information is sent to Business Central and pretty much creating and ready to book, ready to post invoice there. And last but not least, we will get back to Derfa and show you a little bit more in the Derfa Dynamic Web View about the new case management module. So that's a quick summary of what I'm going to show you in the next 20 minutes. So let's start this off and let's go to the email client. And here I have prepared some draft emails. Basically, it's just sending the emails to a prepared email address, which is Kronos Invoices here, and it contains the invoices and attachment. If I open this up, this is, okay, Outlook doesn't want me to show that now. Let's take another one here. So this is one of the typical invoices we're going to see later in the demo. But now let's just start this process by sending those emails. And as said, they are sent to this email address and picked up automatically by Derfa using the content connector. Next step of the process is now that we're gonna go to the Derfa Navigator and check what has happened with these invoices in smart capture. For sure, the process typically takes several minutes to finish. So the picking up from the email address and also running through the AI recognition takes a minute. So we have already prepared some of the invoices upfront here. So this typically takes 2 to 3 minutes to finish. But now we have here a list of invoices to be checked. And let's just open up the first one. And that gives you an overview about how smart capture works inside the Derfa Navigator. And yeah, this is the interface of smart capture, as you see it now on screen here. You see the left is the data that was automatically recognized and read from the paper document. It's separated into different sections. So you have some basic header information about the invoice. You have some amounts data. You have some vendor or customer information, and you got the line items. On the right, you see the invoice on screen, and you also see marked where some data was read from. And next to the data left, you see either a check mark or nothing. This pretty much means if there's a check mark, the system is already very confident that the data read is correctly, and you may skip the checking process. If there's no check mark left, it's probably better to check because the system still wants to learn and is not secure or not confident enough that this was absolutely properly read. But let's run through the different data that was recognized. So you see, for example, the invoice number, and you immediately see when you click it, you get it marked on the right side. It tells you where it was read from, and you have a very easy to use and very easy to access interface to check the data. You can either click further, or you can even confirm by pressing the check mark, which makes this this icon green, which is basically just saying that this item was additionally checked by the user. So we have the order number, which is read correctly. We have the issue date. We have no due date, but if you check the invoice, you will see that there is no due date on it. So that's actually also correct. We got the amounts on the invoice with tax, without tax. We got the vendor name, which is read here, and the VAT number. And last but not least, we can check the line items. And here you also see that we have the different line items pretty much read correctly. So we have the item code, which is okay. We have the full description of the item. We have a quantity correctly detected, a unit price, and a final amount. So actually, this invoice was pretty well recognized. We have pretty much checked all the data done. So what we can do next is we can press the big confirm button down there, which basically means that the data is now taken over to therefore with the document. Or if this is an incorrect invoice or there's a problem on it, you can always also press the delete button, which basically stops the workflow process and informs the user about the problem with the invoice, and you can request a new one. But for now, let's confirm it. So that invoice is done. What happens next is if there are more invoices in your inbox, you don't need to get back to navigate and open the next one. It's immediately opening up the next invoice for you. So you can stay in the Smart Capture interface and just continue with checking the next invoice. In this case now, this is a German invoice, so you see also language doesn't really matter too much to the system. So the German invoice, let's also quickly run through it. So, we got the invoice number, which is absolutely correct. We got an order number. We got the dates read correctly. We got the amounts, which are pretty fine. We got the vendor name, absolutely correct. And if we go to check the line items, we also see that there are 3 line items which have a code. 1 line item is a generic shipping costs, and all are actually correct and nothing to change here. So we can confirm this invoice too. So next invoice, one from Australia in this case. Again, quick check for all the data, but you see it's read correctly, so all the data is pretty fine. And again, let's go for the line items, and once more you see the product codes are read correctly, and all the descriptions are pretty okay and absolutely right. So confirm once more. And last but not least, we're gonna get to one invoice where I can show you a little bit about the correction interface. So if the system does something wrong, it's pretty easy and very simple to correct stuff. Let's quickly check what the system is unsure about. The order number is read from here, and that's actually correct. The system was not sure about it, but we can confirm, yeah, that's fine. But we have a big problem on the line items, it seems like. We have an exclamation mark here. So let's check those. And we actually see that, first of all, there is one extra line in the line items which is not supposed to be there. And in addition, down here, we see that the quantity is actually not read correctly from here. And even the unit price is incorrect. So here, for sure, we have to correct some stuff. And to do that, we press Edit Grid on the right. And we can here really correct the grid that it was recognized and help the system to learn to do it better next time. So first of all, here, this line, we don't need it because that's a line which is not part of the line items. And there is an X mark. So if you press it, this line is removed from the grid. Next, here we see that there is obviously a separator missing because this is the amount and that's the unit price. So we need to add one separator line here so that these 2 items are separated. Basically, it's as easy as clicking here on the line and pressing the plus button. This was now adding a separator to the grid. And last but not least, we have to assign properly the different columns to the different metadata. So here we press this little icon up here and say, so that's the quantity column. That is the unit price column. That's the total amount column. And if we confirm this by pressing the apply button, the data is read once more from the invoice, and now you actually see this is pretty correct and accurate data. So we have the descriptions here, the quantities are now correct, the unit prices are fine, and the total amount is fine. So that's pretty much how easy it is to correct one invoice if it's read incorrectly, and for sure with every time you correct these invoices and press the confirm button, the system is going to learn and get better next time. So we are done with that now, and let's press the confirm button. In the meantime, some more invoices dropped in, which are the ones that we were sending by email, but we're not covering those now. But what happens now in the background is that the Therefore workflow is taking back the data from Smart Capture, and it's attaching it to the document, and it's putting it into its final spot, which is in our case a vendor case. So let's go to our vendors area here in Therefore. Let's go to a vendors list, and let's, for example, take this customer where we have seen an invoice just a minute ago. Let's open this case. And here you see that we have a vendor case where we have different sections, documents, which are generic documents that are for the customer. We have the invoices down here. We have some orders and we have some quotes. So all the vendor data is pretty easily accessible from directly one screen. But let's open up just the invoice we scanned this minute ago. So that's the invoice we have been seeing in the demo before. And if we check for the index data, for the metadata, this is where it was taking over the data from the Smart Capture. So you see the vendor name, you see the invoice numbers, you see the amounts and the order numbers, and all the line items were read correctly and are part of the Therefore metadata for the document. And we see a little check mark down here, which is just an indicator for us if that was already posted in Business Central. That's something I come to later in some minutes. Yeah, but that's just how to show you that the Smart Capture process was taking over the data, how you can check and correct if it was read incorrectly, and what finally happens in Therefore when the document is pushed to its final destination with metadata. But as I was telling you at the beginning of the demo, this is not the end of the story. So at the same time the document was pushed into the case, there was another process started, another workflow started, which is registering the same invoice immediately in Business Central. So in this sample here, we're assuming our customer is using Business Central as an ERP system. So let's head over to our browser and let's switch to the Business Central. I just need to move the upper parts here a little bit. Sorry, it's hiding it from me. So here we are, Business Central. You see that we are using an online sandbox from Business Central. So this Business Central connector does work perfectly all right with Business Central on-premise, but also with Business Central Online 365. Let's go to the Purchasing Invoices section. And here you see actually all the 4 invoices we just have managed inside Smart Capture are also now already registered inside Business Central immediately. And if you open up one of those, let's stay with DDS Melbourne again. We see the Business Central screens. You have all the data available here. You see all the line items. You see the item codes have been transferred. You see the full description has been transferred, quantities, unit prices, everything's here. If you want to double check the document which is inside Therefore, you can always just press the link here, which is on the right section where you have the Therefore area. So if you press the link, it's opening up our Therefore Dynamic Web View, and you can check the invoice once more. You see it here as it was saved to the system. If you have some additional documents you want to save and you want to add some more or some additional information to this document, that's also very easy to achieve. For example, let's assume that you want to add a service contract now. All you need to do basically is here to drag and drop it to the drop zone here, which is in the upper part of the screen. The document gets immediately uploaded, saved to Therefore, it's pushed into the correct Therefore case, and accessible also from the shortcut link. So you can easily click it and check it. So that's how you can prepare actually the invoice for being finally posted. next step of the process would be that we really post this invoice. So we're going to do this now. This is making this registered invoice to a posted invoice now, so that's finalized inside Business Central. You see the invoice number has changed now to a final invoice number, to a confirmed invoice number. The documents, as you see on the right, have been traveling along. So all 2 documents are still available on that screen for every user. And you have the line items and everything being transferred properly. And if you want to check again, let's open it another time. You can easily get back to the document here in the therefore dynamic web view. And if you check the metadata of the document and check, for example, the posted flag, this is now set. So at the end of the process, therefore was also updating the document once more in the case. It was pushing across the correct final invoice number to the metadata, and it was also updating the posted flag, which means that now if there is some other process waiting for the posted flag to go on or continue, this would be now started. So that's about the integration into Business Central, which is available also with therefore 2021. And last but not least, let's stay a little bit here in the therefore dynamic web view and talk about case management, which was where the full case management module is also going to be added now to the therefore dynamic web view. So let's go back to our repository here. Let's go into the Business Central area and the vendors cases, and let's just list them. So again, we have all of our vendors here in the list. And if you open up again, DDS Melbourne here, you see now that there is the case management module fully available in the new therefore dynamic web view. So we have the sections on the left, the different parts of the case. So we have the generic documents, we have the invoices, again, orders and quotes. Here we have some accessibility for the documents, some context menus, so where we can open documents and delete them. For sure, double clicking also works. So if I double click this invoice document, again, we see the invoice and all the data. There's for sure some more functionality to this. So we have here a button to navigate through different cases. So if you can press next case, for example, you see that the case is changing. We have a different vendor now. So it's very easy to run from multiple cases, multiple customers, and check data in here. It's basically just a click away to navigate through. Yeah, you have all the functionality available for cases now, which is around workflow and tasks. So you can start a task for a case, for example, quite easily and send the whole case to some other user to do some ad hoc tasks on it. And you can also for sure interactively start a workflow from here. The case header is also available. So if you want to change something on the case header, have to add some data for the case, you can easily do it from here, either way. Some more changes to the UI of the therefore dynamic web view are on the collapsible and expandable panels on the left and the right. So you can easily change the size here. And you can also, if you have a small screen, easily collapse them. And the same applies to the right. So if you want to hide the actions, you can easily do this, and you just have the icons available there. So you still have all the commands available, but it's consuming way less space than before. And the system remembers this for your next session. So if you collapse it, it's kept collapsed for the next session. Yeah, that's actually pretty much what I wanted to show and demo you in this whole process. So yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for being part of this event.